What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a little bit of a chat about Aember Shards. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. No one quite knows whether it's Ember or Amber or Aember. It's that weird A and E letter going into each other, though I'm sure there is a linguistics professor out there who would be able to explain it to us. But that's not what's important today, ladies and gentlemen. What is important is Aember Shards and what we do with them. We finally have a whole bunch of information provided by the lovely folks over at Fantasy Flight Games. What Aember Shards are, we kind of knew that already. How we buy them, and crucially, and I know a lot of people have been asking for this, actual prices. I know, right? Now, up until recently, the only way we really knew how to get Aember Shards was by buying decks. Now, buying a deck gets you one Aember Shard, which at the time we were like, yeah, Aember Shards. And then as time went on, by which I mean like last week when we got a quick update, we went, hang on a second, one Aember Shard means very little, and you would be right. The cheapest thing on the prize wall is a cardboard deck box, which costs 5 Aember Shards, or a cardboard chain tracker, which costs 5 Aember Shards, which is about $50 if you just buy it with decks. Because if you're buying a deck right, every Aember Shard costs you $10. So when I'm saying like, hey, there's a cool chain tracker, $50, there's probably a few of you out there that are like, no. But of course, there are other, and might I say, more efficient ways to go about getting your Aember Shards. Now, recently, we started having chain-bound events. I made a video explaining it. I'll pop a link in the description. And in chain-bound events, you turn up and you get an Aember Shard, and every win you get an Aember Shard. So let's say you go 3-0 at a 3-round chain-bound event. You leave with 4 Aember Shards. Well, that's basically saved you $40 because you didn't have to buy 4 decks. Cool. Now, annoyingly, there's 2 stores near me that do events, and they don't have Chainbound yet, which is really sad, but I digress. But they actually just revealed the point. So we have a look here. Store Championships, 5 for turning up, 3 for winning, and if you win the whole thing, 40 Aember Shards. Cool. Prime Championships, 10 for turning up, 5 for a win, 75 for winning. Grand Championships, 20 for turning up, 10 per win, 150 for winning the whole thing. So let's say, I don't know, there's 5 rounds and you win them all, you leave it with 220 Aember Shards. And the maths on this is pretty easy. That's 220 decks worth. That's $2,200 worth of Aember Shards. Although, like I've said, buying decks is massively the least efficient way to go about getting them. But we know there's Vault Doors happening. We know there's one happening in the US soon. We know there's one happening in the Netherlands soon. Turn up 30 Aember Shards. Win a game, 15 Aember Shards. Win the whole thing, 500 Aember Shards. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Turn up, win the whole thing, 530 Aember Shards plus 15 for each game you win. Let's say, for argument's sake, you win 10 games. That's 680 Aember Shards. That's a lot of Aember Shards. Clearly, if you want to be collecting these, the best thing to do, rock up to and win a Vault Tour. Doesn't seem like it's going to be particularly easy to do. But if you can pull it off, oh my goodness, you're going to get yourself a lot of Aember Shards. Now, if we remind ourselves quickly about the organised play pyramid, it looks a little bit like this. So, chain-bound events are very small, store championships hand up in stores, and then prime and grand championships are going to be these kind of one-off events that happen here and there. It has been confirmed, incidentally, for anyone that missed the news, there will not be a World Championships for Keyforge in 2019. Long story short, and I'm paraphrasing here, but what Fantasy Flight Games have said is that it's too early. They want the game to develop, they want to have a lot of tournaments, they want people to separate themselves, and then we can go about having a proper World Championships. As far as I'm aware, as far as they've said, unless I've missed something, the plan is still to have one in 2020, but we're not getting one in 2019. So, Clearly, now that we know how to get these Aember Shards, the most important thing becomes, what can we buy? And look, let's just do the big fish right here, the gaming chair. It's beautiful. Don't see why they picked Sanctum? As far as I'm concerned, I want a Mars chair. Give me a Mars chair. And then when I'm streaming, I can be streaming out of my Mars chair. I need to find someone at Fantasy Flight Games who takes pity on me and sends me a Mars chair. Have you noticed how many Keyforge videos I've done? Is that going to work? I don't know. Because here's the thing, right? That's 1,000 Aember Shards. If we go back, winning a Vault Tour gives you 500. That is half the amount you need. Now, to be fair, it's not 500. It's 500 times 15, how many wins you get plus 30. But let's say, for argument's sake, there's a lot of rounds. Let's say you win 15 games. And even if there's a lot of rounds, even if it's 15 rounds, you're probably not going undefeated. But let's say you win 15 games. That's 225 Aember Shards. Plus the 500 for winning. Plus the 30 for turning up. And that will give you a grand total of 755 Aember Shards. Now, 755 Aember Shards is a lot. It's not actually that close. You're still 245 Aember Shards away from winning that chair. That chair is not going to come home with you easily. The good news is that is the only thing on the prize wall you cannot buy if you win a Vault Tour. So as we go by, you've got chain trackers, 5 Aember Shards, and what looks like cardboard deck boxes for 5 Aember Shards. Incidentally, the chain trackers and all come in a variety of houses. We'll look at that in a moment. There is a pin which is going to be exclusive to each individual Vault Tour. Obviously, you'll not get any Eindhoven pin if you go to the Birmingham Vault Tour. Incidentally, I'm going to be at the Birmingham Vault Tour. I'm going to be trying to get my 500 Aember Shards. So if you are there, do make sure you come and say hi. Follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's how you can find me if you want to find me and say hi. 70 Aember Shards gets you a Keyforge t-shirt or a set of metal keys, and you can see on the back they are stamped with Vault Tour, although it does not look like they're stamped with location, just Vault Tour generally. 100 will get you a Keyforge beanie. 150 will get you a snapback style hat. 70 gets you a house mat. 80 gets you a Keyforge mat. Difference between them very simply is 70 is a house mat which is themed after one house, whereas 80 gives you a generic one. You can see we've got Brobnar, Mars, and Untamed featured. You've got spaces laid out for your free keys, spaces laid out for your battle line, etc. So it's a slightly more fully featured map, though it's not themed after a particular house. 175 gets you the zip-up hoodie, which is beautiful. 350 gets you the messenger bag, and then you've got the chair. And here's the thing, right? If you rock up to a Vault Tour and you lose every single game, you can still get a pin badge. Incidentally, there is no chance I'm not getting the pin badge. If I lose every game, I'm getting the pin badge. But let's say you win 4 games. Well, 4 games is going to get you 60, plus the 30 you rocked up with is 90. That's going to get you your metal keys. Winning 5 games means you can go home with a beanie. If you want one of the mat, then back to your 4 wins. 4 wins is looking at 60, plus the 30 you rocked up with is 90. So that means you can get one of those 2 mats plus a chain tracker and a deck box. Look, we don't really know how reasonable this is. It depends how many rounds there are. It depends how well you do. Some people are inevitably going to be annoyed by the fact that you can only really get a badge if you lose all of your games. Some people are inevitably going to be annoyed by the fact that the chair costs 1,000 Aember Shards. But I want to point out, it's a chair which is Keyforge themed and being given away as a prize. I think it's fair to assume you'd probably have to earn it. The one thing this has really done is shown us the folly of trying to collect Aember Shards through decks. But here's the thing. What happens if you rock up to a tournament and you go ahead and you win yourself 2 games? So you've got 30 Aember Shards, plus the 30 you get from entering the Vault Tour. you've got 60. You really want a mat, you can't get a mat. You've bought yourself 10 decks, which is a fairly sensible number in terms of testing a whole bunch of different cards, etc. I'm not saying everyone has to, I'm just saying from my experience, a lot of people are buying around that number. Certainly that's about the number I'm rocking at the moment. I think I've actually got exactly 10 decks. Either way, that puts you up from 60 to 70. I don't think anyone's going to go and buy 1,000 decks and then rock up to the Vault Tour and go, boom, give me a chair. That's one expensive chair. But gain a few Aember Shards from buying decks and a few Aember Shards from Chainbound tournaments and then rock up and win a few games at the Vault Tour and all of a sudden buying something like the beanie or the snapback or a mat. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. Now, I did say I'd show you all of these mats. Now, the good news is that over on a live stream they did recently, they showed us essentially all of the mats. It looks like the chain tracker and the mats will have the same artwork on. So here we can see both the Brobnar mat and the Sanctum mat. Yes, the Sanctum mat is a 4 horseman mat. I leave it up to you how excited that makes you, but you can see they're clearly themed. Here is an image of the disc mat / chain tracker. Logos, I mean, it's Time Traveler. I'll let you decide how excited you are about that. Mars, who are usually my boys, this looks fairly dramatic if I'm honest with you. Shadows, you've got, well, Urchin Fagin combination, that's not too bad. But come on, the best mat is Untamed. Untamed is not my favourite house. But look at it. You've got Ancient Bear, Way of the Bear, and Regrowth, which has a bear coming out. I want the bear mat, and I want the bear chain tracker. I desperately want those 2 items. When I go to the Vault Tour in Birmingham, I want the pin, I want the bear mat, and I want the bear chain tracker, and I do not want to come home without those 3 items. So there we go. Hopefully this has helped explain to you how the Aember Shards come around and what you can get with your Aember Shards, etc. And if nothing else, at least I showed you all 7 of the house mats, and they aren't up on the website at the moment. You had to screenshot them from their Twitch stream. Good news is, that's exactly what I did. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys on this. Tell me what you think about the Aember Shards. Tell me what you think about the prizes. Tell me which ones you want the most. Go nuts. But please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Keyforge. But we also talk about other games. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.